shouldn't be allowed props. Hi guys, and welcome to another brand new video. Today's video is my review for Witch's Love. At the time I'm filming this, Witch's Love has been over for about 2 weeks. I waited until it had all aired and had all been translated on Viki before I started watching it, plus you know I had to slog my way through Cheese in the Trap first. So I was excited to get started on this one because it looked interesting and it looked fun, as is swiftly becoming usual. Spoiler alert, because I will be discussing this in detail and it's really hard to discuss without spoiling. Before we get started with the review, Witch's Love is about 3 generations of witches. They are living in this house, which is also a soup rice kitchen. It's super popular, everyone loves it. Those 3 witches are Cho-hong and her 2 older grannies. She is quite well known around the neighbourhood because she likes to walk around with all the trays stacked on her head, and she has caught the attention of Jae-wook, who is a manhwa artist. He has his own little comic series going that's to do with witches. It's called Witch with a Ladle, I think. Life's pretty easy, nothing too complicated is going on. They run the restaurant, it's successful. Cho-hong's got a boyfriend, she's got her little BFF Jae-wook, and then their lives get complicated. That new building landlord, Sung-tae, shows up one day, alerting them to the fact that he has now bought the building, he's the new building owner, now they have to pay rent, and they have to pay a deposit. But he is wrestling with an event from his past that's very murky. He doesn't have all of his memories, but he knows vaguely kind of what happened, but he's been having nightmares and he's trying to sort through it all and get to the bottom of it. But of course, the witch's handbook straight away says you are not supposed to tell normal human beings that you're a witch. You have to hide it and you have to keep it a secret. But that becomes quite hard when she grows close to Sung-tae. I have to say, after struggling through Cheese in the Trap, I was incredibly excited to get started with this drama because I knew from the poster it was going to be fun, it was bright and colourful, and I was like, okay, it can't be as bad as Cheese in the Trap. Anything from this point is an upgrade, and I wasn't entirely wrong. The opening of the first episode was appropriately witchy and Halloweeny, and I was so here for it. The opening episode in general was really fun. It has a fun OST song that I really liked. We get introduced to a hot guy, we get introduced to a cute female lead, there is magic. I was here for it. I was ready to give 12 hours of my life to this show. Aside from the fact I was getting Sabrina the Teenage Witch vibes, and that show was basically my entire childhood, so my attention was officially grabbed. Extra. So extra. I mean, we have the granny in the race helmet when she's just driving a car like a normal person. We have the Ursula style dark witch with the cackling in the appropriately timed thunder. And then another example would be the secretary, who was just OTT in general. Although I kind of ended up loving him, even though I cringed a little bit at some of the things he did. He was pretty hilarious, but there was a lot of extraness to this show, but I found I didn't really mind it because it kind of fit with the vibe of the show and it entertained me and amused me anyway. The magic itself was very fun, like I said. It was very Sabrina the Teenage Witch with the finger snaps, and then one of the grannies did the kind of nose wriggle that Samantha did in Bewitched. The potion brewing was very colourful and sparkly and very pretty to look at, which, you know, if you're kind of used to Harry Potter, probably seems a wee bit unrealistic and a bit ridiculous, but again, it was fun and it fit with the vibe. The lore behind the witches and the magic and the rules for it was really interesting, and I was really fascinated by it, which is basically that if they fall in love but then get betrayed, they lose their magic, like, slowly, and then they kind of go all, like, stereotypical, like, grey crazy head witch cackling and crazy. And they have to live in the tunnel, the witch tunnel. Interestingly, this show does have a fair few creepy moments, mostly provided by the flashbacks to Sung-tae's childhood and what went down that one dark and rainy night. Honestly, this mystery dragged out for all 12 episodes and I really feel like it could have been resolved by one question, because, you know, if you don't ask, you don't get, my dude. Our main male lead was Sung-tae. My first thought was, why is he being this level of arsehole with them when they've lived in this house this entire time and he's basically come in and started throwing his weight around? I do understand that he wanted to know what had happened in the past and he was trying to find out, but I do feel like he was a bit prattish, shall we say. As has been established, Sung-tae has this mysterious event from his past and he has been trying to figure out what happened, because obviously he remembers some of it but not all of it. There are gaps in his memories and he wants to know what's happened. I'm fairly sure he was convinced that these two grannies were murderers or something, at least in the beginning, which even I was looking at him like, yeah, there was a level of shadiness to some of what they were doing, but even I wouldn't stretch quite so far. Although I did eat my words at one point later in the series, because even I watched that episode and I was a bit like, wow, they dead ass stabbed him, didn't they? Anyway, I understand his prickliness from that point of view and the fact that he didn't know if they were something to do with it or not. I wasn't too sure of his character at first, but ultimately I ended up finding him kind of adorably awkward. He's quite serious, and when he and Cho-hong started dating, he was kind of treating the whole thing like some military affair, when there was like lists and to-do lists and he needed a list of this and this and this and this, and it was like, chill, dude, chill. But it was really cute kind of watching him open up more and become more relaxed, and Cho-hong had a lot to do with that. And honestly, he was just so adorable as a main male lead. Cho-hong is our female lead. She completely cracked me up from the beginning. Unfortunately, when we first meet her, she has a gold-digging crazy ass ex-boyfriend, and I was like, oh honey, no, there is better coming for you. Dump his ass. Unfortunately, she had to be hurt to learn a lesson, but she was funny. I thought she was quite relatable at points too, like when she was hiding from her ex-boyfriend. There were a million better hiding places than the one she picked, and I was just like, oh god, I saw it coming a mile off. The one thing I will say about her is that at one point, her crying really grated on me. I'm not sure whether I can class that as bad acting or whether it was more that she'd been told to play it that way, but I felt like it was kind of annoying, although I guess it does kind of fit her character, because her character has lived kind of quite a sheltered life and she does have a tendency to be a little bit childish at points. But overall, she was a likeable main lead. I empathised with her, I related to her on some levels, and I really did root for her and feel for her. The second male lead is Jae-wook. He is played by Hong Bin. His entrance was not only memorable, but it was completely hilarious too. I really did feel for the poor bloke. I mean, he's struggling, he's trying to achieve his dream, he's writing and drawing and designing this comic, and he wants it to be successful, and then you've got his dad showing up, delivering such inspiring words as, give up your dream and live miserably. 10 out of 10. Fully inspired. Even though I did actually like the main couple, I was kind of like low-key rooting for him too, but that's mostly because, you know, Hong Bin. But I didn't let my love for Hong Bin in general overwhelm the fact that his character is the second male lead. But overall, his character was cute and hilarious. As for the romance, Cho-hong and Sung-tae were like bickering little children in the beginning, and it cracked me up, and I was so here for it. I thought they were so cute. The whole living together, forced to live together trope was alive and well in this drama from the start. They were quite different. Sung-tae was very serious, like I said, whereas Cho-hong not so much. I did really like watching them get closer and get to know each other, and watching them interact and watching the romance develop between the two of them. They both like to jump to conclusions, which provided some misunderstandings and some, you know, drama. Plus Sung-tae is dealing with his past and the mystery of it and trying to figure it out and trying to work out if they had anything to do with it, which is kind of a bone of contention between the two of them when she figures out that he is investigating them, essentially. Generally speaking, they did figure all that shit out pretty fast, and when they had an argument, it was usually resolved quite quickly. I'm not sure if that speediness was there because there were only 12 episodes and they needed to keep things moving, or whether because they wanted to have a lot of little dramas throughout to keep things interesting, but either way, I really thought the two of them were super cute together, and the warm and fuzzies were reignited within me as I watched this drama. As for the plot, the series is only 12 episodes long. Each episode was about an hour, so as you can imagine, it is pretty fast-paced. Things do move pretty quickly, although the first few episodes did have a couple of slower moments, although at the same time you could say that at points it might have been a bit too fast-paced. I liked how there were little bits of the mystery of Sung-tae and his past kind of scattered throughout, and we don't get the full picture until the final 2 episodes. I went through so many theories. I was really disappointed my warlock theory wasn't true. I got well into it at one point, guys, and I was like, right, okay, he's blatantly a warlock, and like a witch hunter tried to stab him and then they saved him, but I was wrong. No. But my first instinct that the grannies had saved him was in actual fact correct. So I wasn't really all that surprised with the reveal of what happened, but like I said, I did have a lot of fun coming up with various different theories as I was watching. I really liked the fact that the mystery was in there because it added some interest and some intrigue and a little bit of creepiness alongside the romance and the humour. And like I said, the romance develops quite quickly, they get together quite quickly, there's a few obstacles thrown in to keep things interesting so it doesn't get stale and boring. The show definitely kept me entertained, but I wouldn't say it's the strongest plot I've ever seen. It's not so much that I specifically had issues with this show, it's more kind of plot holes and things that were left hanging that I noticed. So first things first, right at the beginning of the show we got some seemingly random background on some of the side characters. I understood getting the secretaries and it did provide some hilarity throughout the series and there were references made to it even though I didn't necessarily feel that it was needed. I mean, I don't think the show would have been lacking without it. But there was a female character that we got some of this background on. I can't even remember what her name was, but she was like an actress or an idol or something, I think. And she seemed to know or have been involved with Sung-tae at one point. And in the first few episodes, we got a fair few scenes like with her and of her and what was going on with her and her career and everything and all of her problems. And then kind of nothing. Like she was there in the beginning and then she vanished. Honestly, I really don't see what her character brought to the plot or why she was there because I think you could quite easily have cut her character out and it would have made no difference whatsoever to the plot. I really didn't see what she brought to the story. That is not the only thing that I feel was left hanging. There were a few other things as well. One being Hongbin. There was a scene where they made it look like Hongbin's character might be a warlock because he's acting like a total child and scribbling on Sung-tae's cover on this magazine, and he kind of scribbles and gives magazine cover Sung-tae a nosebleed, and then real life Sung-tae gets a nosebleed, and I was like, oh my god, Hongbin's character's a freaking warlock. My god, this is going to get interesting. This is going to be an intense love triangle between the human, the witch and the warlock. I'm so ready for this. Nothing came of that. Nothing whatsoever. I'm not sure if it was like a coincidence or whether it was the writers and the show playing a joke on us, but I literally was waiting and I was so excited and I was like, yes, this is going to be epic. And then nothing. He's just Hongbin. Another thing I feel like could have been explained a bit more was Cho Hong's mother. Because, like, we know vaguely what happened, but I spent the entire series waiting for it to be elaborated on and to kind of get more details than just the bare bones of what we did. And I kind of feel like this could have been elaborated on along with the powers earlier on in the series so you went in fully understanding it. But I was waiting to get a proper, full flashback of what happened between her parents, because we got a lengthy flashback about the middle granny's past with the golden pelvis or whatever his name was, and I thought it was not unreasonably justified for me to think that we would get a full flashback of what happened with Cho Hong's parents. Plus the crazy witches that have lost their powers that are lurking in that tunnel, there seemed to be one there that the grannies knew, and at one point I did kind of think, okay, maybe Cho Hong's mother didn't die, maybe that's her mother. But when she got her magic back, there was focus on her specifically. Like, it was a proper close-up of her, and I was kind of waiting for it to be revealed who she is and for her to be someone important, but it would appear she's just a random that they know. Like, who was she? Was she just there to make Cho Hong afraid, like, halfway through the series, and, you know, essentially a throwaway character, or was there supposed to be more to her that they didn't have time to expand upon, but they were setting up to do so? She just seemed like more from the way they brought her in and there was the close-up and everything. But I did enjoy the damn show. I just feel like some things could have been brought in and expanded upon to make it even better than it already was. Overall, this series was entertaining, it was cute, it was a lot of fun. You don't need to be functioning on all brain cells to watch it, you can just whack it on. It's a little bit cheesy, a little bit tropey. As much as I feel like they should have given the show more time and more episodes so they could really kind of delve into things a bit deeper, I did enjoy watching this show and I had a lot of fun watching it. So that has been my review for The Witch's Love. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know down below what your thoughts were on the show if you've watched it, or perhaps recommend me some other Halloween K-dramas. I have just started watching Oh My Ghostess. That is the next review I will be doing once I've finished watching it. I will link all of my social media down below so you can see how I'm getting on with it over on Twitter. And I'll see you guys soon.